We're live. Go on. Anudita?
Ma'am, we start?
Yes.
Uh,
1 minute.
because
we
time we gave is 6 o'clock.
It says, yeah, we're live.
Okay. Just wait for him to come back and start.
Yes, ma'am.
Start, Anudita.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. As the country gears up to celebrate its 74th Independence Day, we too at the Vidyalaya begin our journey through ANUGOONJ. ANUGOONJ, the long-lasting echoes, echoes that pulsate and reverberate, and come back quite like what we have today and in the days to come. We are celebrating our very own through a series of online concerts. In our flight to freedom, we are celebrating voices that have echoed in the Vidyalaya and have gone on to resonate in the world. ANUGOONJ is an opportunity to not only applaud their achievements, but also to appreciate their journey and struggles. There is indeed much to celebrate. Children, on this Independence Day, let the world not crumble your hopes or dreams. Let the dark voices of outside not swallow your own. Let your falls not break you, but make you more determined. Let the cold winds not extinguish your flame, but keep pushing you to find new ways to reignite what's lost. May you keep walking, living each moment, cherishing and collecting your significant bubbles of happiness. That will become your hot air balloon someday, and then maybe someday. Not just you, but a few more could fly too. We begin the program today with a short documentary that's been prepared by the children of the Vidyalaya.
Years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes
73 साल बीत गए और एक नया दौर शुरू हो गया। इस 21वीं सदी में आते आते आजादी के मायने भी बदल गए। आज के युवा आजादी को अपने अपने नजरिए से देख रहे हैं और अभिव्यक्त कर रहे हैं।
Freedom means to me running around in the park, playing and cycling with my friends, going to Vidyalaya every day, and participating in the Independence Day function and seeing our flag flying high in the sky.
Freedom to me means that we have the choice to eat what we want, choice to make our friends, choice to watch our favorite movies, and choice to follow any particular region, even choice to not follow one. However, my freedom comes with responsibilities too. It means what I do and say must not hurt anybody. Freedom also means to recognize others' freedom as well.
To me means that I can have my own opinions about something and take decisions on my own without anybody questioning me or judging me. It also means that I can talk about my opinions and perspectives without being scared of what other people will think or say.
मेरे लिए मेरी आज़ादी अपने तौर तरीके से सकारात्मक जिंदगी जीकर एक मुकाम हासिल करने में है। मुझे लगता है आज़ादी अपने सोच को जाहिर करने का जरिया है। हम जैसा सोचेंगे हमारी आज़ादी की परिभाषा भी वैसी ही होगी।
Freedom is when a person is not bound physically or mentally. Freedom is when a person has the opportunity to decide what he wants, when he wants, and how he wants. Freedom, according to me, is the synonym of being yourself.
A place where mind is without fear and you're not constrained by the external environment, where you feel free, fearless, and not judged for articulating your ideas and embracing your true self.
Freedom to me to be what I want to be, to thrive, grow, and choose a life what I wish to see. Shades of rainbow represent my country. All are free to live, laugh, and play. Long live humanity.
ना जाने कितनों की जान चली गई भारत को आजाद करवाने में। नाम गिनने लगें तो घंटे लग जाएं, कईयों के तो याद भी ना आए। कितने महान थे वे इंसान, बिना कुछ सोचे समझे दाव पर लगा दी अपनी जान। है गर्व हमें आजादी पर अपनी, इसको कभी ना मिटने देंगे। झुका नहीं जो शीश कभी, उसको हम ना झुकने देंगे।
Heartwarming, isn't it? We have with us today a very charming young man. With his glint of mischief, which is intact, Raghav Meattle from the batch of 2010. Welcome to the Vidyalaya, Raghav. Raghav is now known as a Mumbai-based singer, songwriter, and in his own words, likes to call himself a storyteller. A storyteller who is trying to unravel the world through his music. He has an appetite for simple melodies and heartfelt songwriting. Raghav, tell us about your journey in the Vidyalaya, your role in the school choir. I remember you as a tennis enthusiast.
Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so very happy to be here. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. And I'm so glad that you're doing this for all the students. And I'm so happy to be a part of like school in whatever we can. I think my journey has been pretty interesting. And like most of our like batchmates and generally people who graduate from Siddharth, right? They turn out to be somewhat interesting people, and I think that's the beauty of something like a school like ours, which uh, sort of develops your personality outside of the classroom also. And I'm really thankful for that, because it's been so much fun. Like school was such a great time. I still have 25 friends that who I'm still really tight with, and like we're still very very close. I sent this on the WhatsApp group saying come join it, and everybody was really excited. So they're probably watching this also. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of things in my life apart from studying, of course. So I went and studied history in college. I went to Stevens in Delhi University. Spent 3 years there. But throughout school, I was very very serious about tennis. Really really passionate about it. Wanted to go play Wimbledon. It was always one of those things that I wanted to do, and I worked really hard for it, which is why I got into college because of my sports. Midway through it, I sort of realized that music is something I really like doing. In fact, school is what also inspired me to do music, right? Like Kajal ma'am and like Shani sir at that time were just such inspiring people. If you look at the original music that school produces, also is incredible, right? Like the kind of music that uh, like some of these songs you still wake up singing Chandan Hai Mati and all of these other songs. So I think school played a really important role in sort of shaping the kind of music I make even now, right? It was always about being authentic. We were never flashy kids. We were always like doing our thing. We were always taught to be authentic and just be ourselves. The best part about it. And yeah, I've done a lot of things now after school. In fact, you made me realize that it's been 10 years since I graduated. So, yeah.
So, Raghav, what are we starting with? What is going to set the tone today?
So I'm going to actually set the tone with a song called "I Am Always Right." It's a song basically dedicated to everybody who has an opinion on a child when they are growing up. To give you an example, I think school was a great place for me to expand my horizons as an artist. But at the same time, when I went to say a guitar class, I was taught music in a certain way, saying you learn these four songs of other popular artists, or you learn these four chords and learn 100 songs, and that's the only way to do it. Or you sing like Sonu Nigam, that's the only way you should be singing. You know what I mean? And that I wish I'd gotten to know that writing your own music was a thing earlier in life, and that's where it started. But it's about not being in a rat race, and Sadapdil is a perfect example for that because it teaches you things like don't worry about your competition and stuff like that. And I think that's beautiful, right? And it sort of stays with you for the rest of your life. So this one's called I'm Always Right. I'm going to explain each verse as I sing it. It starts with the father and goes into the mother. Okay. I'm just going to do a quick check. Can you tell me if you can hear me properly?
Yes, we can, Raghav. We can hear you
Perfect.
perfect.
Perfect. All right. This one's called I'm Always Right. I want you to know what's good, and I am always right. I want you to know what's bad, so you can toe the line. You're a boy and I'm your father, I know what is right. This is the mother. I want you to clean your room and get to bed in time. I want you to stay away from women until the time is right. You're a boy and I'm your mother, I am always right. You nod your head and say yes, you made it to the rat race. You lost faith, you like the shit, you call yourself the best. Hey, you nod your head and say yes, you made it to the rat race. You shake your head, you like the shit, you try and be the best. But I won't hold you back today. I won't hold you back. I won't hold you back today. I won't hold you back. Music teacher. I want you to learn these chords and play them every night. I want you to sing these songs and copy every line. You're a noob and I'm the teacher, I know what is right. This was the government. I want you to vote for me and all my sons in good time. I want you to pay your dues. What's yours will now be mine. I'm your God and have the power, I will make things right. You nod your head and say yes, you made it to the rat race. You lost faith, you like the shit, you call yourself the best. Hey, you nod your head and say yes, you made it to the rat race. You shake your head, you like the shit, you try and be the best. But I won't hold you back today. I won't hold you back. I won't hold you back today, but I won't hold you back. Yeah.
Lovely, Raghav. It truly
Yeah.
is. And it resonates very well with the mothers, huh? And everybody else, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it was essentially that, right? Like I sort of realized that if things are told to you in an easier way, then you'll probably get it. You know what I mean? Than
Mhm.
like being made to ascribe to a certain thought, forced into it. Yeah.
Raghav, your musical endeavors began post a successful stint at the stage, yeah, the Indian Talent Television
Yeah.
series, where you were a
Yeah.
semi-finalist in the top six. Tell us about that. How did you end up there, and what was the feeling like?
Okay. So actually, I'll trace it back to like school. Okay. So I had four really good friends in school. One of them used to be my flatmate and is one of the biggest drummers in the Indian circuit right now. Abhijit Sood plays with bands like Parikrama, Shilpa Rao, all of these big Bollywood stars, right? So we were four people who were obsessively in love with music. We used to listen to metal. In fact, our band in school used to be called Violent Asylum. Uh, I don't know if you know this in home science class. We actually we, we actually painted these t-shirts also which had VA written on it, and we were just like distributing it among friends and stuff. It was really funny and really cool at the same time. Then when I reached college, right, and it was fun, right? We used to do stuff in the musical afternoon, and it was crazy because it used to keep us excited, right? Like we would have a musical afternoon. I remember we were in class 8, and there was only one slot available, so only either class 8 band could play or class 9 band could play. and we sort of beat the class 9 to play in something like that happened, and there were auditions in the canteen, and those kind of things used to keep us like, yeah, we're doing it and stuff like that. So school played a big role in it, and but it was always about singing other people's songs, right? It was never about writing our own music. In college is when I got into it really seriously. For 3 years when I was in college, we played every single college competition that exists, right? Like we traveled to different places. I remember we went to IIM Bangalore for a competition, and these were at a stage where there would be preliminary rounds in each city, and then they would select 3 bands. So we were at a stage where we were actually getting to travel. People would reimburse us our train journeys, which was like 36 hours. So I literally spent 36 hours to reach Bangalore and just play a gig and come back. But that was a great learning, and it sort of made me realize why I love music so much. And it sort of made me realize that I was a writer and I loved writing, which I didn't know about. I like music, I was doing it, but writing is what made me discover music in a new light and made me obsessive about it, right? So I think right from when I was 18 years old, I obsessively have heard music for the last 10 years. Uh, and through the 3 years, I worked really hard. We put out some new music. We were pretty popular in college, and we would play a lot of these bar gigs and stuff like that. And I always had this managerial sort of entrepreneurial side to me, where I would go and talk to a bar owner and get a gig and stuff like that. And then I like all college kids, right? We never made enough money, and I was sitting for placements in college, and I got this nice job at a hedge fund in Hyderabad, and I was like, might as well just go do this. It sounds like a lot of fun. And then for 3 years, I moved from Hyderabad to Bangalore to another startup, and for 3 years, I kept writing my own music, sitting in my room, like after things were done, after work was done. But I always wanted to do something in music, right? And I would always tell my parents. I was releasing some music here and there with a friend of mine, but it's always very informal. And then I was in my notice period at my job, and I saw this audition for the stage, and I went for the Bangalore round, which was in some college. And they called me for the Bombay round. I was like, I'm anyway free. I'm in my notice period. I might as well go and apply. I went for the Bombay round, and then it just happened that they were like, yeah, you are going to be on the show. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me just do this. I called up my job. I said, hey, I need 1 more month to figure this out. And then on the show, of course, I sort of realized that, hey, this could be a possibility. I could be doing this like for a living, and I think I'm decent enough. It gave me a bit of a push to venture into it. It's not the biggest show. It's not an Indian Idol where your life is made sort of thing. What is life is made anyway, right? But you get that bigger platform. This is like it's a nice show. People watch it. It's an English reality show at the end of the day. And yeah, I mean, I went for it, got on to the top 6, and then I never went back. I never went back to Bangalore, and I've been in Bombay ever since. And I called up my parents saying, hey guys, I've saved enough money to do this for the next 1 or 2 years. Let me just give this a shot. And the rest of the history, I've been doing music ever since, and like figuring things out in the industry, what I like doing, what I don't. But yeah, that's how the stage happened for me. It's quite an epic story, and I don't know how life pans out sometimes, but yeah, exciting. I mean, I would any day do this and do a job in Bangalore.
I remember a lot of children talking about it, even in school during English periods. They would very often say, ma'am, do you know Raghav Meattle?
Oh,
And there
really?
he is, and he's been selected. So there was a lot of excitement about you figuring in the top 6. So something
Nice.
that you'd like to sing from those times.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I'll sing Budapest. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
sing Budapest. I sang another song, but I'll sing Budapest because George Ezra is that comparison. So it's one of the only
Yeah.
covers that I do. So yeah, here it goes. You can sing along too, Anudita ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma
I
from
will.
Budapest, my hidden treasure chest, golden grand piano, my beautiful Castillo. I give it all. But for you, I give it all. Give me one good reason why I should never make a change. Baby, if you owe me, then all of this will go away. My acres of land I have achieved. It may be hard for you to stop and believe, but for you, I give it all. But for you, I give it all. Give me one good reason why I should never make a change. Baby, if you owe me, then all of this will go away. My many artifacts, the list goes on. If you just say the words, I'll up and run just for you. I'll give it all. But for you, I'll give it all. Yep.
Thank you, Raghav. That was lovely. That was really, really very nice. In fact, it was on the most liked list for a lot of teachers also.
It's amazing that you guys are listening to the music.
Oh, absolutely, we are.
Amazing.
Raghav, you have been performing at some of the most coveted platforms for live music. Yeah, there is the Bacardi NH7 Weekender. There is
Yeah.
Ranthambore Music Festival, there's Control, Alt Delete, and more. You were also nominated for the Radio City Freedom Awards under the Best Pop Artist category last year. So, how are you handling all of this? You know, fame, name, and the showbiz.
I think no. I think if you let it get to you, then you get to it. It's also like I put like fame as if you can't hang out in public, that's when you're famous, and I can totally do it right now. So I'm technically not that famous, uh, right? So that's how I categorize fame. And no, but I think like the showbiz is also what you make of it, right? I have my school friends to sort of like pull my leg every time I do something stupid, right? Like it's always that way. If you're surrounded by friends, you're not going to change the person that you are, right? And so, a lot of my school friends are like that support system, right? Because you can so easily get lost in this madness that is Bombay and this music industry and in the competition and sort of start doing music that you don't like. This is one thing that I speak to a lot of like college kids and like school kids also actually, and this is one thing that I tell them is that like for me it's always been the 13-year-old that I was. I want to always be proud of what I imagined it to be. Right, when I got into music, I always want to like cater to that dream of a 13-year-old where I want to do my music my way, not conform to any sort of traditional music careers, right? Which is why the kind of music I make is also exactly what I want to make. It's not like catering to the masses. If a lot of people end up listening to it, great. Like I'll be very happy. But I've sort of figured out other ways to sort of handle my finances or build a career in the music business apart from just being an artist because I want to keep doing stuff that I like. I don't want to do stuff that I don't like when it comes to music especially. So I mean,
Fair
it's
enough.
a lot of fun. I've never worked harder. I think some of the things that you hear of these creative industries is that people don't work hard enough, and it's a chilled out life and sort of a thing. But I feel like, especially in the creative industry, you have to work harder because like it's also like you're striving to be relevant at all times, right? You always have to keep creating. Being an artist is not an easy job because you have to really dig deep to sort of get music out or write something which is special. So I feel like the best artists are actually the ones who work really really hard. They probably work harder than people at a corporate job because they have to give it so much. You have to give your 200% because there's no stick at the end of the day. where your teacher is telling you to study, or your boss at your job is telling you to sort of finish an Excel sheet, right? It has to be all self-driven, right? Your self-drive is the most important thing when you're an artist.
Raghav, what about Naina? What has been her take on this? Your choice of
She's
music, what
super.
you've been doing?
She is
Yeah.
super supportive. I actually, when I moved to Bombay, I didn't know anybody except for my sister who lived like a kilometer from my house. And she's been such an incredible support system. I can't even tell you, because it's absolutely incredible how much she supported me. In fact, on my debut album, which is called Songs from a Matchbox, because when I moved to Bombay, that's how small my house was. Like, it was literally a matchbox. And yeah, so I dedicated a song to her on the album, If She Can.
Yeah.
I wrote it for her. Do
Let's
you want me
hear
to play
that.
that for you?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. This one's called She Can. And check out the lyrics, you'll probably enjoy it and relate to it. Dedicated to your sisters or your friend at school. She can choose to change my whole world. I know I won't complain. She can offer me solace. I know I'll do the same. She can bat those eyes and get away with crime. She can put a smile across my face and just take it away. She can roam around the moon and back. I know she'll stay the same. Bat those eyes and get away with crime. There's a song in my heart, let me play it through. This is how I feel, I know it's not you. The sun may go down, but I will send the moon back up and start. We'll wait for her to shine. But she can roam around the moon and back, and I know she'll stay the same. She could change my whole world. I know I won't complain. She can offer me solace. I know I'll do the same. Got those eyes and get away with it right. She can put a smile across my face and just take it away. She can roam around the moon and back. I know she stays the same. She can got those eyes and get away with it right. Stepping out, I look around, hoping that she stay found south. The sun may go down, but I will send the moon back up to keep her violet glow in this light. She can roam around the moon and back, and I know she'll stay the same.
Lovely, lovely.
Yes, that was
Thank
She
you.
Can.
Thank you. Thank you, Raghav. You know, Raghav, I was just reading your bio, and
Yeah.
what gave me a lot of pleasure, and I find it very interesting, and I'm sure the teachers and everybody else at the Vidyalaya would agree with me when I say this, that the fact that you have fostered a community of independent musicians called the Cone Community, yeah, where you host interactive live sessions on your Instagram. So this entire thought process, what is
Yeah.
the idea behind this Cone Community?
So, the thing is that when I Bombay, and I've had a pretty tough time sort of figuring this out, right? And obviously, when you're starting out in any industry, it initially is very tough. And I don't come from a musical background like where my parents are musicians or everybody I know is a musician, right? So I fairly like in this whole nepotism, whatever, like this debate, I'm an outsider, right? I'm an out and out outsider. I didn't know anybody in the Bombay industry. I didn't know anybody in the Delhi industry. So, uh, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to sort of figure and navigate your own way, and especially as independent artists in this country, it's a really hard thing to do, right? Which is why even now uh, I find it extremely pressurizing for me to be a full-time sort of musician. I work as a like a marketing head at a label, but that's because I want to keep my music as pure as possible and not be worried about externalities, right? That's what happens with musicians, and I wanted to support independent artists, right? I felt strongly about it. Whatever I've learned in the last sort of 10 years of being associated with musicians, I want to just give back, and it's become a thing. I actually, when I shaved my head off about 3 months ago, I got lots of people made lots of fun of it, and they were like, "Yo, this is so funny" and stuff like that. And I just went live on Instagram, and I went into an ice cream cone, right? And it became like an open mic where I would just accept requests from random musicians across the country, and just getting to know my people below me and stuff like that, right? And then it sort of became like this thing where every night we would find these mind blowing musicians, and we were just like, we have to do something with it. So now, in fact, I've sort of in the last 4 months, I've discovered about 400 artists who come and sung on this Instagram live, and it's a really like thick, well knit community, sort of this thing of artists. And what I'm doing is now I'm using my network to sign. I've signed a couple of them on my label, and we're helping them release their music. I'm doing like every week I do a workshop called releasing your music, because there's a lot of technicalities which go into sort of once you're done with a song, how you release the track is also one of the most important things, right? So I take them through that. I do like, building your brand on social media. I do exercises on that. I love teaching. I think it's so fulfilling. And I want to like whatever I had problems growing up or whatever, I just want to like give back and just help somebody out without being like dominating or anything. And that's the idea. So it's become a community. We do a monthly showcase where four new artists um, come and perform, and I sort of market the track. So last time we had 120 people who paid 200 to watch these four artists perform, and all the proceeds from these gigs go to those four artists. So in these tough times when people aren't making any money through live shows and stuff like that, it's like a way to help them out. So I love it. I absolutely enjoy doing this, and I think that's why I do it. I do it for myself also. Yeah.
We love it as well, and I think it's just the Patelian spirit, yeah? True in every
Yeah, I
sense of
think
the word.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, like throughout school, we would have Friday collection, and we were very like environmentally conscious, socially conscious. I think those are values that are very hard to you take them for granted when you're in school, but you sort of realize how well it was instilled in a lot of us, right? And like the no firecracker pledge, which you sort of like have discussions about, and you sort of realize also much later in life of like what school was, right, to you, and how much it impacted you and your formative years. So I think hats off to you guys for drilling sense into us.
In fact, he has not only been giving budding musicians access to an enthusiastic audience, but he's also been mentoring them and how to go about cultivating their own brand of music, which I really love this about you, Raghav. So what
I
next?
mean,
What is next in your list?
next on my list is I think I want to sort of build this community to become something big.
Yeah.
Right? We're at a stage in the Indian music industry, at least, where you'll see a lot of these independent artists blow up, right?
Yeah.
We're at the cusp of it where Bollywood, because of these streaming services like Spotify, Savan, Ghana, all of them in the market, there's going to be a huge growth of independent musicians. So, like any young musicians watching over here, I mean, it's possible to sort of build a career in music as long as you do it right. years for it to happen, but it's one of those industries where you can make it happen because that it's become a level playing field. No longer do you need a Bollywood to sort of course, it's a great push, but that's not the only thing which gets you there. Which wasn't possible earlier. Now with the internet and just how it's happening, like TikTok stars are like bigger than Bollywood stars right now. You know what I mean? And these are like people living in tier two cities, just doing their thing, using their creativity, and becoming superstars.
Yes. So what do we hear now?
Hmm. I'll play a song called Better Than It All. It's a song that I wrote when I was the most vulnerable. So, I mean, I think as students also, you go through like your ups and downs, and you sort of sometimes don't feel that great. Sometimes you feel very, very positive and you feel like you're the king of the world. Uh, right? So it's about those times. For me, it was personally about like I chased everything else that didn't matter just to pretend that I was happy, you know. And then when I found music, it was like everything that I wanted. Uh, the chorus of the song is I'm not waiting for some phone call. But when I
Okay.
wrote this song, that's exactly what I was waiting for. Right? I wanted
Okay.
work. I needed work to survive in Bombay. It says I'm not staring at the wall, but I found myself doing that a lot. I'm not hoping for some miracle. I'm better than it all. So that's the context to this song. So yeah, it's about never giving up. All I've done is chase things in the dark, for things that seem right from the start. What felt good wasn't always right. Who cares now? Still fine. I'm not waiting for some phone call. I'm not staring at the wall. I'm not hoping for some miracle. Oh, I'm better than it all. The future never looked so bright. Your opinions on the left and my right. I'm waking up a tad bit late, but I'm not living the life. But I'm not living a life. I used to walk, crawl, or run. It all felt the same. For things that didn't mean much, I could always take the blame. What felt good wasn't always right. Who cares now? I'm just about fine. I'm not waiting for some phone call. I'm not staring at the wall. I'm not hoping for some miracle. Oh, I'm better than it all. The future never looked so bright. Opinions on the left and my right. I'm waking up a tad bit late, but I'm not living a life. I'm not waiting for some phone call. I'm not staring at the wall. I'm not hoping for some miracle. Oh, I'm better than it all. Thank you. That was yeah. That's about my first month in Bombay.
Yeah, there is a sense of being very vulnerable, huh? In the lyrics as well. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually like my lowest point, right? It was at a time when I
Mhm.
was like, oh my God, what have I done with my life, right? I quit my job and I'm moved to Bombay. What was I thinking? You know,
Yes.
it was late at night. Yeah,
Raghav, there are many in the audience today who wish to pursue their passions
yeah.
and not get trapped by the baits of ranks, good colleges, placements. So, I mean, how do you find your way around these things? What would you like to
Hmm.
tell them?
I mean, I can go on and on about it, but to put it simply, I think um, when you like doing something that you do, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this, but when you like doing something like that you do, you'll do it really, really well. And that's with like when you play football in like in the games period, or say if you've chosen an ECA subject, right? Then you'd want to like keep doing that. A lot of you must be acting, you must be doing clay modeling or whatever, right? You really like doing it, and that's when you get good at it, right? It's the same with whatever you choose to do with your life, right? You might want to be an engineer because you really like it, then you go ahead and like spend all your time doing that, right? And that's when you really become valued in what you do. You know what I mean? Like uh, I've sort of my entire life revolves around music. My work meetings are about listening to a new song, and I've consciously built that for myself, right? And the thing that adds to my job is that I've obsessively heard music for like 15 years of my life now, right? That has to count for something, because uh, in my meetings it opens doors for me, right? Because I can have a conversation about literally everything and anything under the sun about music with anybody that I meet. There are different ways to sort of navigate through all of this, but the one thing is that I love music, and I've sort of developed my life to revolve around music. And that's what you can do with whatever you feel like doing. But whatever you do, just do it like you absolutely adore it. And this is exactly what you do want to do. So if you want to be a footballer, then just run towards it. You know what I mean? Like, then don't think twice. Be practical about things, but also give it your 200%, right? I think that's the most important, because once you get that specialized knowledge of whatever you do, then you're good, right? Like then you can get a job as a football coach, or you can be like the best in the business in terms of like management of football, right? Then sky's the limit. But as long as you do it for 3 years, 4 years, give it everything you've got, right? Like sleep like you're exhausted, and then you just have to crash and then wake up again. And you will feel like that if you're doing something that you love, then it'll become that. Like, that's what life is for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm constantly working, and like all my friends are like, what are you doing? Like, you're such a workaholic. But honestly, I don't feel like a workaholic, because I'm literally doing what is natural to me, right? I would love, as a 14-year-old kid, I would have loved to have this life, and I'm living it right now. That's what it is. And it obviously took me through a 360, like 180, right? I did all kinds of stuff before realizing, hey man, let me try this. So I think as a 16-year-old, 14-year-old, whoever's watching this, I think it's about choosing what you like doing, and you don't need to choose it right now, and it doesn't need to be a hurry. You can choose to do something, whatever you can't do, just do it well. I think that's the most important advice that I think my mom instilled in me very early on. So when I was playing tennis, I was playing it like, man, I want to be like a Grand Slam champion. And then like when I started doing music, I wanted to do that. So I think that's what it needs to be. That's what it takes to do something special, I feel.
Very true. Whatever you do, you need to do it right and with all your heart. So, Raghav, what's up in the line now? What are you singing for us?
I'll sing City Life. It's very similar to what I spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a song basically about how we chase a lot of things in life. The chorus of the song is, while we all chase the love, we all chase the cars, we all chase the good life with broken hearts. And that broken hearts is not like jilted lover, but it's more like we all want something more from life or whatever, right? It's about being dissatisfied more than anything else, right? Um, so, and it's also about like a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm going for IIT coaching, right? Like it doesn't.
Yes.
So it's about like a pretense, right? You have to be true to yourself. If you feel that you're doing enough, then you're good. But it becomes a trend, right? You're going for tuition, so everybody's going for tuition for all subjects. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I'm sure there are a lot to identify with that statement right now.
Yeah. So yeah. Can you hear my guitar?
Yes. Yes, Raghav, we can hear it.
It's voice heavy, Raghav. You need to get the guitar closer to the mic.
Wait, I'll play it like this. I claim to be this person, not selfish, not greedy. Well, that's not me. It's hard to be. I'd hate to be mistaken for someone not needy. Well, that's just me. It's hard to see. Close my eyes in dust boats called city life. Wonder why we live here and why we haven't left. Close my eyes in narrow lanes and pigsty. Wonder why I can't see the sky and all the stars. While we all chase the love, we all chase the cars, we all chase the good life with broken hearts. I can sing to the clouds, sing to the rain. Oh, mean a thing in these back trains. I close my eyes to begging kids and their cries. Wonder why I can't see the stone that I've become. I close my eyes to honeybees and butterflies. Wonder why they fell trees and how they aim to breathe. While we all chase the love, we all chase the cars, we all chase the good life with broken hearts. I can sing to the clouds, sing to the rain. It won't mean a thing in these back trains. I claim to be this person, not selfish, not greedy. Well, that's not me. It's hard to be. I'd hate to be mistaken for someone not needy. Well, that's just me. It's hard to be. Yeah.
Lovely, Raghav. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just saw Priya ma'am enter the chat. Hi, Priya ma'am.
There are a lot of teachers, you know. There's Kajal sending you a ton
Oh
of
wow,
love.
okay. I've been like sort of like peeking through my laptop to see what's happening there. And hi Kajal ma'am, thank you so much. Like indebted to her for. I think she told my parents that you should really encourage him to do music. In fact, when I was a kid, and I think that's when my parents were like, oh no, we have to really encourage him to do this. And yeah, I mean, miss you, Kajal ma'am, and hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. In fact, Raghav, that's where my next question comes from. So, inspirations. What have been the influences in your life? The driving force behind it all.
Oh, so many. I think so. John Mayer is a big influence. Musically, I'm going to talk about music influence and then maybe like talk about other influences. But yeah, I think musically, John Mayer, Ed Sheeran, um, George Ezra is a big influence. I heard a lot of rock, so like a lot of Korn, a lot of prog rock. I don't know if kids these days are still listening to Tool and stuff like that, but I mean, I sound like an uncle, but no, but these are like evergreen bands, and I've always been in love with these musicians, and I think what you hear when you're like young, right, is so important because I was always we never liked pop music, right, when I was growing up, and it's so ironic that I'm making pop, but it's still a different brand of pop music, but when we were growing up, more of us used to laugh at people who would listen to pop music, right? We would just be like, why aren't they listening to metal and stuff like that? And it's strange, but it's also cool, right? Because when you're listening to genres like metal, you're doing it for the purity of it. It's not because it's cool to listen to metal. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where we all fell in love with the art and the artists, and I sort of get obsessive, right? Like if I find an artist that I love, I sort of make sure I know everything about them. I'll listen to all their songs, I'll watch all their interviews. So yeah, these are guys who really inspired me. But how I set myself apart from these guys is that I speak about in the Indian context, right? So if you see any of my music videos or anything, even though I'm singing in English, I'm still talking about a problem that a 25 to a 28-year-old faces, or I'm talking about things that have impacted me. And all my music videos will be in a Bombay local rather than being in like a fancy studio and like, being like this cool pop star and stuff like that. Because I feel that's what separates me from a person listening to a John Mayer, right? Because they can always listen to a John Mayer and Ed Sheeran, but if I talk about the Indian context of things, I talk about the problems I face, I talk about the things around me. That's when I add value to a person's life, right? That's when they want to listen to me over an American or a British artist. Like I think that's something that I've consciously done. Think in terms of inspiring in my life, I think my mother and my sister have been played a huge part in my life in terms of like shaping who I am as a person. So thanks, big thank you to my mom and my sister if they're watching. Generally, I think even I think reading books, like one of my songs was inspired by Amartya Sen. You know what I mean? Like because he talks about economic policies and stuff like that, and I didn't know how stark it was till I read it, right? And then I was like, this is crazy. So stuff like that, right? Those kind of things really bother me, and I have a political side of me where I want to talk about things which are right, and if I see something problematic, I will talk about it because that's a democracy. So yeah, I mean, lots of reading. I think that's something. So people like Amartya Sen, a lot of journalists also, like Ravish Kumar is a huge inspiration to my music and my life. I think, I think for what he stands for and the kind of person he is. So yeah, so these are the influences in my life. Yeah.
Raghav, you've also done a George Ezra's cover, right? You've done that.
That was Budapest only. That was Budapest.
That was
That's
Budapest only.
that was
Okay.
Budapest. Yeah.
Okay. So, what is it that you're singing for us? What about the political side that you mentioned? I remember hearing one-sided story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, One-Sided Stories is a song that I wrote for about how everybody lives in an echo chamber. We all are, right? All our WhatsApp. It's about WhatsApp University, fake news, and like polarizing opinions. But how in SPV is like all my SPV friends lean towards one political philosophy. You know what I mean? So we're all like talking about the same stuff, and while another WhatsApp group from another school is just talking a completely different thing, right? So it's about being a little more coherent in terms of understanding other people's opinions and uh, having dialogue and debate, right? So that's what it's about. So it's I listen to the lyrics. It's cool. It also talks about like the temple and stuff like that. So yeah. One sec. I have been told about the miracles of men. I wasn't told they were happy and well. I have been told about development in these cities. I wasn't told about the slums and all the misery. I tell you, you tell three, same old stories on repeat. I have been told about the king and all of his deeds. I wasn't told about the common folk and the weak. I have been told about the temples and the bridge at sea. I wasn't told about demolitions and the bigotry. I could show you how well sway to make believe. When the press caught out, when I can breathe, I can see the bigotry. But I tell you, you tell three, the same old stories on beat. I have been told about religion and society. I wasn't told about centuries of brutality. I have been told about inventions and discoveries. I wasn't told about the plants, birds, and the trees. I could show you how we're sway to make believe. When the press is gone out, but I can breathe. I can see the bigger tree, but I tell you, you tell three. Same old stories on repeat.
Extremely
Yeah.
relevant, huh? Extremely relevant to the times we're living in.
Yeah, yeah. That was the idea. There's a music video on my YouTube channel. You should check that out. It's got like only men at work. So it's like a complete, like, it's got lots of these subtle things about like patriarchy. It's about, there's a line which is, I have been told about inventions and discoveries, but I wasn't told about the plants, birds, and the trees. Like just get out to a jungle and just learn so much, right? Like you can do so much more there also.
Okay, Raghav, we are now going to take up questions from the audience. Vinayak, are
Okay.
you ready? Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Be
So
nice,
there are a
guys.
lot of questions. So there
Oh,
are a lot
yes.
of questions floating around. One of Okay, so the first question um, is Meattle your pseudonym? It sounds really cool.
No, I was born this way.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's
yeah.
my real name. That's my real name. Yeah.
So the second question is, what was your parents' reaction when you decided to do music full time?
So yeah, I mean, like every parent, man, every father whose son, 24-year-old son, tells them that they want to quit their job to do music would be nervous. So I give them
Yeah.
that, but they were very supportive. But at the same time, I had a skill. Like I'd worked at a job for like 3 years, so I knew that I could go back to it and give this a shot for a while. Um, right. So I wasn't being like completely like, this is what I want to do. I want to do nothing else. I started with like a 2 year thing where I wanted to give it a shot for 2 years and work
Mm-hmm.
towards a goal and then keep like seeing if it's working, right? And then if it didn't work out or I felt that this is not what I wanted, I could always go back to something that I was already doing. So I'd done that long enough to know that I had enough skills to be employed by somebody else. So I was okay and I had
Okay.
savings a little bit to survive. So I was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes sense. So the next question that is, it says that what encouraged you to do music full time, and what will be your advice? What will be your advice for somebody who wishes to pursue music full time?
So I think what pushed me to do music full time is because I loved it, and I felt like I would rather do this for the rest of my life than do something else that I didn't feel so passionately about. Because the journey might be slow, but I'd still be able to like enjoy myself. Because here's how you should look at it, right? You can spend 5 years of your life doing something and struggling with it while you love it, and then you can spend the
Mm-hmm.
rest of your life doing it, like till you're 60, 65 is when you're going to be working. You might as well do something that you love doing,
True.
right? And only the initial years are hard. So that's my one thing for people to get encouraged by. Like you spend those initial years of like investing in yourself and sort of becoming that, so that you can spend the rest of your life doing it, rather than being in something that you don't care about for the rest of your 50 years of your life, right? Because after
Yeah,
you
that makes sense.
graduate from college or whatever, you'll end up spending 40 years working. Might as well do it in something that you like doing.
Yeah. Now the next question is, when are you coming again?
What?
So when are you coming next?
To school, hopefully soon. Yeah, I want to sing on the. That's when Anuradha ma'am invites me to school. Um,
Right now. Right now.
yeah,
Yes.
um,
I'd love to. I'd love to be back anytime you call me.
and there's another very interesting question floating around. Which batch and which house?
I was Shakti House. I was Shakti House. Go Shakti, all of
Yay!
you.
Go
uh,
Shakti!
Go Shakti for sure. And I was 2000. I graduated in 2010. So yeah, it's been 10 years. I'm old.
So, what are your future plans and how would you expand your music?
This must be a teacher for sure, huh? uh, no, so I mean, I want to.
No, it's not a teacher. It's not a teacher. The
Okay,
teachers are sending you a ton
thank
of
you,
love.
thank you. Love.
There are lots of them.
Oh wow,
Jayashri, Paramita, Radhakrishnan,
amazing,
all sending you
amazing.
a ton of love.
Lots of love.
Of course, there's Priya, there's
Amazing.
Sapna
Sapna ma'am
Poems,
was
there's
my
lots of
HRD
them.
like in classics. Yeah, and I think I've been taught by all of them over here. Thank you so much. More lots of love to all of you. Um, so future plans, man. I just want to enjoy this journey, right? Like that's how I look at it. I'm in no hurry. I just want to keep writing more music, putting out more music, and it sort of gets easier and easier as you go along, right? Because you've been doing it for longer, so it'll just keep getting better. I sang with my first movie, so it came out like 3 months back. It's called What Are the Odds? So yeah, I mean, so it's gonna get better. More people are listening to the music, and yeah, I mean, I just want to keep doing what I love. Essentially, that's the plan.
And there is a node in the chat. He's asking, or he or she is asking, did you learn? How did you learn the tricks and trades of audio editing and engineering? What helped you in that?
So actually, so the thing is, when it comes to music, right, you don't really need to know every aspect of it. So I'm a very basic. I can only do very basic production, sort of make demos and scratches. But I actually hire and work with a music producer when I do. So if you want to get into the editing and engineering of it, you can actually enroll for like sound engineering courses that exist, right? If that's what
Yeah.
excites you about how like a mic should be placed in front of a guitar to sort of get a particular sound, or how should you, which mic should you use to get this kind of a frequency, then sound engineering is something that you should explore. And then that's a very different skill from what I do, right? I'm a songwriter. I write songs, I write pen down songs, and I also write songs with my guitar. And then as a song, then it can have different things. I don't need to play the drums also on my, if you look at it like that, right? I get musicians to come and play on the track. I become a composer. So I'm essentially a composer, right? It doesn't, I don't necessarily need to know production. So that's what it is. So I know my basic stuff. I use Logic to record my vocals, record my guitars, and make basic scratches, and then I take it to a professional who's studied it for 10 years to take it and then record it in the studio, give it a vision, and then we arrive at that.
So what equipments do you use? It's like, do you have a professional mic? Are you using a professional mic right now?
Not right now.
And
That's why the audio quality is okay, right? I use a Taylor guitar. I use Taylor guitar. It's a pretty cool guitar. I got it after a lot of like hustle and lots of years of breaking strings on stage and just wanting a nice guitar. So it sounds beautiful
Yeah.
live when it's plugged in. I have a Scarlett sound interface. If somebody wants to know, I use a dynamic mic, sometimes even an SM57 to record. Sometimes much fancier MXL mics, for example. So I have a condenser mic and a dynamic mic for anybody who wants to know and is aware of that. Otherwise, for like going and jamming with the band, I go to a jam pad where literally you have amps and everything, so you can just plug it and play. So that's what we technically do. You don't really need to have like a jam pad at home now. You can actually rent out spaces which actually are soundproof and have all the electronics. There, you just have to take your gear like your guitar and go play it.
Okay. Now the question is, what is your favorite school song?
Chandan hai mati.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can you sing
Also,
that
Sing
for
it
us?
for us.
okay.
Sing it
I
for
also
us,
like
Raghav.
वो
है कितना
दिन
दूर?
है कितना दूर. Yeah. Um, चंदन है माटी मेरे देश की, चंदन है माटी मेरे देश की, माटी मेरे देश की. Man, what music, yeah. I actually go to the YouTube channel of I don't know if it's on SPV, but somebody else has uploaded वो दिन है कितना दूर जब अपने सपने ना 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 होंगे पूरे ये देश मेरा जागे. Yeah, sorry Kajal, ma, I forgot the lyrics. Yeah, but so ingrained in our heads, and I go back and listen to it sometimes when I'm like feeling nostalgic. It's awesome.
So I would like to conclude by saying the audience wants you to give a shout out to your YouTube channel. So please.
I just put it there. I just posted Binod OP on the chat thread since everybody.
Yeah,
One sec.
the
I'll
whole
just
Vinod
post.
army is there.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. Apparently, I can't post it. So you just have to search for my name. It's Raghav Meattle, Meattle, and that's my YouTube channel with the same name. And you'll find all my videos there. And I have a Spotify. Like you go to any streaming services and type my name out, you'll find some 15 songs over there.
So yeah, that's all for the questions. And now,
What a pleasure it has been, Raghav, for all of us here to interact with you. You have no idea what memories you've brought back for us.
I hope good ones.
Very good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I now invite Raghav Vinayak. He's also the General Secretary of the Vidyalaya to present the vote of thanks.
creativity in the pure and undiluted form is the true definition of music. It is a way to escape from the pain of life, provide relief, and reduce stress. It is a powerful therapy that calms you down and makes you cheerful in the moments of turmoil. Music indeed plays an important role in our lives. Raghav Vaya, in one of his TED Talks, spoke about the three facets of his life: creative satisfaction, gaining exposure, and money in the bank. Today, we had an opportunity to listen to your enthralling music. You have inspired and encouraged many budding musicians amongst us to follow their passion and dreams. We certainly got a healthy dose of soothing quarantine tunes because of you. Passion is what gives your life meaning. Bhaiya, through your journey of finding a stable place in the corporate ladder and then leaving your safe job behind, you trusted your intuition and went ahead to pursue something that gave you immense joy. You are creating success on your own terms, highlighting how important it is to follow one's dreams. On the behalf of the school management, teachers, and all the students, I would like to thank our guest, Raghav Meattle, for taking out time from his busy schedule and performing for us on this special occasion. I extend my sincere thanks to the teachers and the non teaching staff for their enormous cooperation in the organization of this event. I would like to conclude the program by saying a few lines from one of my favorite songs by Raghav Vaya, Better Than It All. The future never looked so bright. The future never looked so bright. Opinions on the left and my right. Waking a tad bit late. I am not living a lie. I am better than it all. I am better than it all. Last but not the least, I would like to remind you that tomorrow, Ms. Sharanya Chandan will be performing live from 5 p.m. onwards. On the 15th, that is day after tomorrow, we have Sayan Bhaya with us at 4 p.m. Furthermore, on the 17th, that is Monday, we have Mirnalini and Ananya Didi at 5 p.m. And finally, on the 18th, we have Vedi Didi at 4 p.m. Sincere request to all to please be there with us live so that we can all enjoy these beautiful performances together. Thank you so much.
That was so sweet and so formal, but thank you. That was awesome.
So, Raghav, do we end with a bang? What do we get to hear?
I'll play the song called. What should I play for you actually? Let me think. Because
Bar talk.
Okay, I'll play bar talk then. Don't guys, don't go to a bar ever. It's a bad place. No, so it's the context of bar talk is that in life we end up talking about in big places like bars, especially. We talk about a lot of things like poverty, war, and stuff like that, but nothing really ends up happening, right? Because it's all small talk and like this which is all pretending and big. This is a song, and in fact, like I just like put out a music video for this one. It's got it's about uncomfortable conversations that we should be having, but we don't. And I got like a LGBTQ couple to feature in the video, two couples, and it was about like how every time the people from that community are featured in a music video, it's always over the top, and like it's a certain vibe that they sort of like project, right, in terms of music videos. So we sort of shot a video where it was completely like day-to-day life, right? You just show them as two people doing their thing, right? So that was the idea of this music video. Check it out if you want. This one's called Bar Talk. So much has been spoken about this world and all of its laws. So much has been spoken about, so little can be done. This world of ours, of diamond rings and fancy cars, of marble tops of hotel bars. We talk about war. It's the world of ours. Dreams of big but empty parts. Of missing lives and broken hearts. What are we here for? Stop it, please. Something light. Let's talk about sweet things and who I took home last night. So much has been spoken about this love and all of its flaws. So much has been spoken about, so little can be done. This love of ours always ends before it starts. Doesn't want to show its cards. We just want more. This love of ours is too afraid of new scars. Doesn't want to show its cards. Let's build a wall. Stop it, please. No time to fight. Let's talk about the future and how things between us are right.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Raghav. Thank you for
Thank you
being
so much,
here with
Raghav.
us.
You, and lovely seeing you, Anandita ma'am. You haven't aged a bit, and you look the same. So nice.
Really. Thank you. I said you're a charming young man.
Hello. I can see you, Anuradha ma'am. You're on mute.
Thank you so much, Raghav. And we end the broadcast, and a big hug from all of us.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
Carry on the brilliant work. More success to you. 'Cause I love the poetry that you set to music.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck with the rest of the week and happy Independence Day to all of you. Yeah, I haven't done that in a while.
Thank you. Join us.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Anudita.
Thank you,
And
ma'am.
Vinayak.
Yes.
I'm